chatting with them, like your experiences, what would you tell, right, someone who is, you know, just a few years shy of where you are, of like what to do, how to really make it out in this space. And you know what I mean, like the things that would help them really kind of get to that level. So whether it's hey, full blown, I'm gonna develop something, maybe even side hustle, like what are the tips, right? Because we're out here trying to make it, right? And wanting to represent for, you know, these different communities and things like that. So this is why I brought you all here today, all right? So I'm gonna start off just asking a few questions, general Q&A, and then I will have you all break up into groups, and so the rotations by about 20 minutes or so with each group. Corey, I have your documents here to share, and you know, hopefully it's an organic time. Yeah.
Sorry, before you get started, can I know what kind of everybody's interested? Like what career field you're looking to get into? What business you're looking to get into? Just general.
Okay. Well, there's no like one set path. Just wherever the door is opening to, I will gladly walk through it.
Do you have a gift or passion? Have you identified a gift or passion?
Well, I think that I've got a great personality.
Okay.
And I mean, a little bit. I was like, we're gonna do a podcast.
Okay.
And we're gonna do a movie podcast, but also like a lifestyle podcast. And then just build a multi-million-dollar entertainment company on that.
Okay, so entertainment. That's kind of what I got to when you said podcast. Okay, anybody else?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Is it Francisco?
Yeah, Francisco.
Yes.
So with me, I want to have my own company. I still haven't decided like this particular industry or business. However, I'm looking a lot into financial advising because I almost became an advisor, and that's something that you can really do on your own and on the side, and then start your own business. So I'm very much into like financial consulting and helping other companies become like more efficient in their process, because I feel like that would be good for me because I could switch industries and businesses at all time. I just have to really learn the business and be good at that. You know?
Love that, Francisco. Steve, were you gonna say something here?
Yes. I actually want to start my own chain of barbershops.
Barbershops.
Yeah. I taught myself how to cut hair.
Nice.
Like senior high school, so like long time ago, and I kind of want to do that just to, basically, I don't know what inspired me to do it, but cutting hair like led me to different paths and avenues. So yeah, I just want to keep that going.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, I can go. I just wanted to let you know my name though.
So everybody can go. How about that?
So my name is Olivia, and I have different things I would like to do. I actually want to start a nonprofit one day as well.
Okay.
But like business wise, I'm thinking actually, and it's wonderful that you are here, actually going to makeup.
Okay.
I'm starting to look into that as well as maybe even one day kind of creating a community to like host events and different things like that.
Nice. It's a lucrative business. What about you, doll?
Hi, I am Michelle Richardson.
Okay.
I am interested in owning my own preschool.
Nice.
But there's a side vision that I've done nothing with it. Only a few know this. I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. I drafted a plan to have my own veterinary clinic. Dang it. That's how much it is a secret. I haven't said it in so long time. A veterinary. Yep.
Okay. A vineyard? Okay. Nice. Like animals.
Yeah.
Dope. What about you?
For me, I'm kind of looking into photography because I've been doing it for a while and I like it so far.
Cool.
My people skills are like top notch if I'm like comfortable enough.
Okay.
It's really weird. Like I don't just decide, but like they're really good. I've been told that they're good.
Okay.
So yeah, like I was looking into like stuff around that.
Okay.
Nothing like into particular, but yeah.
Love that.
Hey, that's what's up.
Juju. Julani. Sorry, I know her from childhood, so.
I am just very interested in working with young people Nothing entrepreneur really, but I'm interested because you can learn something somewhere, something anywhere. Praise the Lord. So
Learn
young
about
people.
mentoring?
Yes, most definitely,
There you go.
and we do a lot of that here.
Okay.
Fostering is one of the things. Like later on in the future, is one of the things I do want to do. Like just have a big mansion and foster children.
That's beautiful.
Big gift, girl. And then Miss Comfortable over there. What's your name though?
Julia.
Gloria? Julia. That's right.
I'm in school right now for school counseling.
Okay.
So that's like the long-term goal. And then on the side, probably like real estate.
Oh, real estate's booming these days, right? Great. I just wanted to see where you guys are at. Icebreaker too. Just to see where you guys are at, and if we're talking, we can kind of relate to some of you guys. But I think in all of you guys' industry and what you guys are going for, you guys will be able to relate with the information that we have. Because ultimately, it's a blueprint. You take it, and then you go with it, right? And then you just pass it on to the next person who needs the help. So.
Alrighty.
No problem.
Love the alley. Great. I was gonna actually say I would love for you all to introduce yourselves. So as I asked the first question, just a little intro who you are, the industry that you are representing, and just focusing on currently, maybe even aspirations as well. And then from there, just like to answer the question. So first question is, what is your current business and what journey did you take to get there? But again, starting off who you are and just kind of sharing a little bit of that context.
Okay. Corey, you have to talk first. Go ahead.
Nah, so my name is Corey, as we stated here. My business is called Champion Circle Enterprise, and we specialize in personal and entrepreneurial development. Everything is grounded in confidence. That's leveraging your skills, your personality, and your gifts to align with opportunities to get you closer to your goal. So in that space, I do a lot of brand writing, like presentations or website designs. I don't design the websites, but I write all the information. It's like really broad, so I'm not going to stop too deep, but because it's pretty much in business, anything that's written is created by a brand writer, essentially like that. And then in the consulting space, I help people kind of design the brand around their ideas, because there's 3 parts to marketing. So you have marketing, which is kind of like the outbound informational stuff. You have sales, which is the transactional things. And then you have branding, which focuses more on the relationship. So why people care, you give them a reason, they'll be more inspired to buy, and that increases the revenue that you have long term. Currently where I'm at in my business, I'm negotiating a contract. Matter of fact, I just signed a contract with a nonprofit as an outreach director, because my skill is people skills, and I like to create opportunities. So I'm able to leverage that. That attracted the opportunity for me to sign a contract, and now we're moving to the next phase. Outside of that, I'm in the process of getting hired as a contract writer for a business. So that way, again, just leveraging my skills, personality to allow opportunities to reach my goals.
Love that. You do any ghostwriting?
I haven't done it yet, but I can.
Sure you can. There's a lot of money in that too, right? So my name is Yuri. I am 29. I have many roles, y'all. So a mother, full-time.
Awesome.
Okay. I am a hairstylist by trade. So I went to Paul Mitchell, the school, Orlando. I obtained my license. I don't know if you've heard of Paul Mitchell, shaking your head. So I obtained my cosmetology license there. And along that journey, I developed some skills that I didn't really know I was good at. And I tapped into life coaching. So I obtained my certification to do life coaching and to mentor. So I'm still developing that role as I, grow more into it. So like speaking engagements and mentoring, women from 15 to about 30 years old in health and wellness and just, career, life orientation and all of the things. So that's a little about me.
Alright, so I did ask this part 2 of the question was just like the journey to get to where you are.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's just like a couple of words that you can say on like what that journey has looked like for you. From just like thought, hey, I'm interested and now I'm here, overview.
Alright, so for me, like I come from a humble family, we didn't really have much capital, so to speak, but we were very rich in support. We loved each other, we really encouraged one another to go forward. And that confidence literally is all I had, and me being able to connect with people and put my best foot forward, develop my mindset, focus on personal development, I was able to get into some mentoring spaces with some elite entrepreneurs at a young age. And just kind of going from there. There were points in my life where I had absolutely no bread, but my ability to communicate and express my thoughts, articulate myself, is what got me to opportunities, whether that's job or entrepreneurial or volunteering for a certain organization. So I really am very big on passion and confidence, because that's everything that I've used to get to where I'm at and even further, and I want to teach people how to do the same.
Love that. Unlike Corey, so I was born in Venezuela. There's a little background about me. I was born in Venezuela. If you don't know Venezuela, it's a smaller, not smaller, but it's so if you have you guys heard of Colombia?
Yeah.
So it's the country right next to Colombia. A lot of people are like, where's that? What? Okay, so I was born in Venezuela, but I have Haitian background. So both parents are Haitian, so I'm Haitian. But unlike Corey over here,
We're in Venezuela.
Caracas, capital. Yeah. Unlike Corey, growing up Haitian, you gotta be a lawyer.
Thanks.
You gotta be.
I got a couple.
Born engineer.
You gotta be a doctor.
You gotta become everyone else's
You have
expectations
to,
almost.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I have older sisters. I'm the baby of 3.
Yeah.
And the sisters, they went off to college, they got their degrees, they did the thing the right way. So for me, I didn't have much confidence. I was kind of, nobody in my family was an entrepreneur. Nobody was a successful hairstylist, so I didn't see it. So keep in mind, when you're not exposed to what you don't know, you don't pursue it, right? You kind of stay still, you kind of just go through life, anyway. So fast forward, my sisters, I kind of followed my sister's footsteps. So I graduated high school, I did some college, and by the second year, I was like, okay, something's gotta give. So by the age of 12, I developed, I recognized my gift. So I knew that hair was my thing. I'm like, oh, I'm good at this. Everyone would, including Miss Juju, everyone would tell me, you're good at this. So think about something that people are always complimenting you for. Like, for example, you said people tell you that you have good people skill. So tap into that. Once you discover that gift, then you realize, wow, you can really make something out of that gift. So fast forward, you already know at 12, 13, 14, 15, really up to about 18, I really didn't know who I was. So I said, okay, you know what? I went through with college. Well, I didn't finish, of course. And I told my parents, Mommy, Daddy, this ain't it for me. I'm gonna have to drop out because I'm gonna lose it. I kept going back to hair. As much as I got away from it because my parents didn't support it, I didn't have that confidence like you did. I kept going back to it, but I always knew that, I don't know if you guys are believers, but I'm a believer. I always knew that career path was gonna lead me to where I am now with mentoring. So ultimately now I'm working in my purpose. So your gift, I always say your gift will lead you to your purpose, right? So fast forward, here I am, I'm enrolling in cosmetology school, and I said, okay, so I'm here now, I cannot look back. So if I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna put my every effort. And my parents at that point, they were like, well, we can't fight her. Like, this is all she's been doing this since she was 12. In my parents' garage, every weekend after school, I had a line of folks' hair, sun up to sundown, braiding hair. Okay, so I didn't know what that word entrepreneur meant. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go full force with it, and I did. I didn't look back ever since. So that's just a little bit of my story. So perseverance, it was for me. Yeah.
I like the contrast between both of your stories regarding just like where I was or where you were, I should say.
Right.
At the time that you figured out the gifting, you figured out what you're great at, learning how to get there. There's that family support, the confidence is there.
Right.
To just be like, I got it, and I just know that I'm gonna pursue that versus like, oh, I got it, but quietly.
Quietly.
And I wanna see how I can kind of push through that, push through maybe the barriers that existed. So with that, the next question is centered around, really like with your experience, what would you tell, you'd say, someone again who's coming into these same shoes, like advice to give, Or even also pitfalls, like what are the things that was like, okay, I learned from that, and if I could tell you one thing, this is something I'd say watch out for,
Okay.
or just kind of like, hey, pay attention to, and perspective on that,
It's a tough one. Well, it's hard for me because I don't believe in like things not happening for a reason, you know? So everything for me is very organic. You know, I managed in 2018 through like 2021, I managed a business. I didn't make any money, but I was able to create a lot of opportunity, which was the intention behind me starting that business. The other thing was like, I really wanted to learn how to do a business, you know? So the loss or the opportunity for me was really learning the ropes on how to become a successful entrepreneur. And that road kind of brought me to where I'm at today. But
What were some of those like roadblocks that made you like really value that? Oh, this is my first business, and it's okay. Like, because in everything you're gonna make a mistake, and that's where most people get scared of it and starting their own business. Because like, if I start my own business, not the first or 3 or 4 might just fail,
right.
and that's okay. So like, what were some of the things that you just gave you trouble that you were like, okay, this is what starting a business looks like, and I can't let this happen again.
Okay. Well, the first thing internal was limiting belief. So
I'm writing notes.
that's cool, yeah. So my limiting belief was rooted in self-doubt and fear. It caused me to challenge what I believe is my greatest gift, which is intellect. Because I didn't go to school, well, because I dropped out of college twice, I seen all my friends graduate, get their bachelor's, their doctorate degrees, and they're having successful lives, so to speak. I caught that comparison bug really bad. And I started seeing my friends start businesses, you know, getting funding from this, funding from that, and I'm over here doing grassroots, struggling, living off my credit card. You know what I mean? So I'm starting to really feel a bit jaded about what life is presenting me at this time. So first I had to challenge that limiting belief. And what I did was I started writing. You know, I was like, you know what, this is how I feel today. Let me just get it out so it's not contaminating me. And then the next phase from there was, what was the next challenge for me? Like I said, it's so organic.
There's so many that come with
I
business.
know, right? There's so many.
You just try to get on.
I say when I first started is taking too much, reading too much into advice from experts. So the challenge there was, as you're starting and going into business or a new career, what have you, you're gonna wanna, try to learn from someone who's been there, done that before. In entrepreneurship specifically, as you venture off onto YouTube, you find the gurus, you're listening to what they're doing, but what you're seeing is they're speaking to the level that they're at. So some of that information might not be immediately applicable to what you're doing, and that also can be very discouraging. So I would say when you're in that ground, that first couple years of your business, and you're learning from the greats, Gary Vee is a good example, just kind of see what you can apply or personalize and implement it into your strategy. And then trust the process. That was the hardest thing, I would say, trusting the process. The reason why trusting the process is so hard is because everything is so new. You know what I mean? Everything is so new. Yeah. And oftentimes in the beginning as well, because of the newness, mistakes usually happen in the learning process. And that learning curve is very steep. Sorry, but
no, I was gonna say and did you feel a little discouraged at the beginning for the mistakes, or did you make it more of okay, this is in the way, let me get to success?
Well, like I said, for me it was more like a mindset thing. If there was an error or a mistake, then it was an opportunity. I see failure more like a scientist than someone who takes it harshly. So in science, there's only trial and progression. So the only way to improve a system, to improve a design, to build that light bulb, you have to continuously try and make mistakes and tweak it and make better and better and better and better. So taking that approach, I didn't really feel like I failed at anything, just being completely honest with you.
To answer your question, question was any pitfalls, right?
Yeah, pitfalls.
Okay, so I specialize in bridal hair and makeup now, but I have been doing hair, like I said, since early on. I had to find my niche ultimately, right? So I've been doing bridal hair and makeup for about 7 years now. Started with my sisters. So in 7 years with entrepreneurship, you're gonna have $0 days. You're gonna have $1,000 days. You're gonna have $1 million days. I ain't there yet.
That's what happened around tomorrow.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Let's go.
It's coming. So you have to be okay with that and not emotionally react, because then you're gonna get discouraged. You're gonna say, you know what, this person, now you're comparing your progress, your process to the next person, and you don't know what it took for them to get there. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big one for me, and I had to, okay, stay still. You have a $0 day today. Go do something else. Go operate in another gift in whatever other area. So that's one huge thing.
So in terms of like niching down, this is something I recently came to. There's something like 2 ways to do it. In your case, because you was mentioning like utilizing your skill, tap into multiple different industries, you're niching down and focusing on your skill. So that's going to be a profitable skill that you can utilize to create opportunity, generate capital for yourself, and then you have that multi-purpose.
Right.
And if you wanted to create like an agency, then you can accumulate your entire experience, focus in on a particular company or a particular service, and then you can scale that as well. So that's kind of like reverse engineering the niching process. As she was stating earlier, you could also just focus on a particular industry, like photography, particular industry. If you want to be more focused, I want to do brand photography. That's another layer. I want to do brand photography for service-based businesses. The more focused you get, the higher you can increase your price, and the less clients you have to do over time.
No, Corey.
You know, and you'll be able to develop a lot of momentum that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so sorry about that.
That right there was, this was the add-on that needed to come in. I'm gonna leave room for just any final questions, general, from the 2 questions that were asked.
Could you repeat that last part? The higher what? You said the more focused you are, the higher the prices.
Yeah. So what happens is if you niche down to industry and then a specific type of person in that industry, then you're by default increasing the demand, and you're becoming a specialist faster because you're developing a very specific skill to deliver to that market.
Can you give like an example, just random, if you can think of one?
Okay, if I can think of one. Sheesh.
I can think of
Yeah,
one.
go
Okay,
ahead, you
please,
go.
yeah.
So there's a lot of hairstylists. There's a lot of photographers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of writers.
Right.
But I decided, well, not even I decided, when I tapped into my niche, first of all, I was burnt out from doing every hair that's new, because that's an evolving, there's a style from 20 to 2000, it's not gonna be popping in 2022. So I was burnt out, okay? But after I had my son, I realized I don't wanna be in the shop from sun up to sundown. So I found a mentor. I found someone that's doing relatively what I would like to do. And I said, I'm gonna hone in on this niche, on weddings. And so I blew that up by marketing. You can probably speak more on marketing. So by marketing, I blew it up. I figured out, what is that target audience? What does that target audience want? My brides, they want an experience, right? So I provided packages for them. I provided content just for them. And so now I still get some people that will kind of reach out to me and say, hey, do you do this? I say no, at this point, okay? So it took me some years now. I dabbled into braids, weaves, twists, all of it, okay? I was tired. Tired. But now I have just a specific clientele where I can maximize my income. I work only, guys, so Thursday through Sundays. The rest of my week looks like purpose service work, community service. Now I'm giving back.
You work 4 days?
Just 4 days, sometimes not even.
That's hot.
Sometimes I work 1 day a week. Well, Saturdays are the biggest days for weddings. I can have 3 brides that day. But now my price point has reached a level where they're booking me because I specialize in that.
Exactly.
So I'm providing an experience for them. I'm providing everything that they need when it comes to beauty for their day. Does that make sense? So it's just an example.
Right. And then just like an extension off of that, because again, I'm really big on like skills. What she did as she was growing as a professional, as an entrepreneur, she identified, okay, what are the things that I want to say no to eventually?
Absolutely.
Because in the beginning, you're going to wear all the hats, but again, as you climb, you want to develop your team. You want to start focusing on the things that you want to say no to. I'll use myself as an example. Like I said, content writing, super huge thing. But you know what? I don't really want to focus on writing like scripts for movies. That's a form of writing, but that's not what I want to do. So I focus on like educational content for personal development. I focus on website copy, so for educational type content. And then I also do advertising scripts, so like radio commercials and things like that, and ebooks and e-courses, all focused on this particular realm, and I don't really want to do much outside of that.
And those clients will come to just him.
Exactly.
Versus that client, versus that writer that does it all.
Yeah.
But they know that they're gonna pay top dollar because he specializes in that area.
I was gonna say like a practical example of that is like maybe surgeons who just general surgeon and then there's orthopedic or
cardiac surgeon. I don't know what all them
Brain
surgeons.
surgeon.
You didn't have formal education, but all you mentioned was very advanced economic theory and marketing theory. Like, wow, man.
Yeah, that's the thing about like passion. You know, the way I see it is like passion is what keeps you going.
Right.
Skills is what earn you money and opportunity. And then within those spaces of applying faith to grow in that process, that belief, that mindset, that exercise of, you know, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna believe that it's gonna work out, and continuously doing that and refining your skills, then you're going to learn everything that you need to know. You know, you might study a bunch of different stuff, but eventually you're gonna be able to focus it in. Go ahead.
Can you say that again, sir? Passion provides.
Yeah, passion is what keeps you going.
And then you said something.
Skills is what gets you paid.
Passion gets you going.
Yeah, it keeps you going.
Yeah, and skill
They get you
provides. Thank
paid.
you so much.
Yeah. And then within that is like your gifts.
Hey, save that. That's a good quote.
With the niche also, with the niche also, somebody else can have the same niche as you, but you're gonna bring something even newer to the table, right? For example, for me, I market myself as a multi-cultural bridal stylist, because why? I can speak Creole, I can speak Spanish, I can speak English, so that's 3 different type of clientele I can leverage versus a typical, bridal stylist that can do maybe just Caucasian, or that's comfortable with just doing Caucasian hair, or that's comfortable with only doing Black people hair, right? Or that's comfortable with just doing Hispanics. Does that make sense? So, and the more, like you said, the more you can focus it, the more money you can charge. Just saying.
And I could be seeing that skills and audience base. It just depends on which one you feel you have the most comfort towards.
Right.
Sure.
So, y'all, yes.
Yeah, what's up?
Is there anything that you feel like you gained or lost from for you having gone to school, or you having not have gone to school? Is there anything that you feel that added to your experience, or maybe took time that you could have been doing?
Yes. I think with Paul Mitchell, here's what I say: if you have a gift, it's always good to refine it, right? You want to seek to refine it. So get the legal state licenses, your certification, get all that, because girl, they're not gonna let you work out here. Okay? They're not gonna, get all of that done. Once you get that, but don't focus so much on the school that costs the most money. Just find a trade school that you can pay out of pocket or throughout the duration of your schooling there. After you're done with that, find a mentor. Find someone who's doing exactly what you want to do. With me, I don't know if you guys have heard of Joe Michelle, Artistry.
Yeah.
She's my mentor.
Yes.
So she paved the way for me, but how did I do that with her? Now, you gotta build rapport. You can't just show up asking, hey, can you show me the ropes? No, that's not the case. I have been following her for years. I tapped into Instagram right after I dropped out of college. I started to follow her work. I started to support her business. I truly was a fan. So I was like, man, she's dope.
That's how.
She's doing celebrities, right? So I was like, I see myself where she is, or maybe even bigger. I don't know. Started supporting her. She started doing my makeup. She started to give me the ropes. One day she posted, if this was not God, I don't know what was. One day she posted, and mind you, she has billions of followers. She posted that she wanted an assistant for her new studio here in Orlando. You think I jumped on that? Opportunity. And mind you, out of all the people that's following her, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people like me that looked up to her.
Right.
I got down there, like, girl, the next day. I was like, hey, Joshua, my name is Yuri. She's like, oh, I've seen you before. Because I already built rapport. I had already taken a makeup class from her. So find that mentor. After you get that mentor, you're gonna need to invest back into yourself. So taking classes here and there, right? That's why I say don't spend so much money on the schooling portion, because you're gonna have to reinvest in yourself, taking classes to keep up with what's new, keep up with the skill, right? And then from there, it's just a continuing, right?
That's facts.
Yeah, you continue to go.
That's facts.
And in your particular case, how did you, because I feel like that's very intimidating, like finding the right mentor. And a mentor you can approach, like what about her, is it her?
Yes.
What about her in particular made you feel like you could approach her as opposed to all the other really famous?
Great question, because there's a lot of people that I looked up to in the industry that I could have went to, but I just had to get in her presence, so I booked a makeup session with her, right? I just wanted to get in her proximity. Proximity is key, okay? Proximity is key. So I got her to do my makeup, and I started to converse with her. She started telling me about who she is. She's like, I'm from Jamaica, I have this, I have that. Her energy right there sparked something. So then I met her in another occasion in a more extensive class. So now I'm like, I trust her. So here's the thing, if you trust and respect someone that you look up to, they can be your mentor, okay? And most of the time, so even in your business, if they trust you and they respect you, they're gonna support. Either sharing your page, sharing your work, referring a friend. So that for me was, for her, to me, it was that, trust and respect. But you gotta get in proximity. You gotta get in position. You can't be afraid either, you know? Because I could have been intimidated, like, oh my gosh, she's done Adrian Malone's makeup. She's done this person's makeup. But I didn't let that stop me. I was like, I'm trying to see what she on. And eventually what she did, sorry, I don't mean to ramble, but eventually what she did, without me asking, after I served my time, I went out for errands. I was humble, because at that level, I could have said, I already know how to do hair. But when she took me on as her assistant, I could have, anyways, when she took me on as her assistant, eventually she brought me to her gigs, to her wedding gigs. And now she started exposing me to what the wedding world is like. And I said, this is it. Why? Because I served my time. I approached her. I did what I had to do. And now till this day, we're working on a project now. So till this day, we still have that relationship. So be humble and don't be afraid.
And this is where do you have to have that talk with them, like, hey, you're like my mentor now, officially, or does it just grow up? I ask all the questions.
That's a good question. You don't have to. You don't have to. Some people, they have a mentoring program where you do have to go through it and pay the fees and stuff like that. But now it's a little bit more popular with mentoring where you have an actual mentorship. But back then, I think it's a new thing, but you can just say, hey, I look up to you. Would you mind if I don't know, do you need any help with anything? Can I shadow you? That's how the doctors and the surgeons do it. So when the kids get out of college, they go do internships, if I'm not mistaken, because they need to see the ropes of what they're getting into before they finish their residency, no?
Like job shadowing and stuff.
Job shadowing, exactly. So, yeah, don't be afraid.
That's dope.
Just
I can
ask.
answer both questions, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
go
can
ahead.
answer both
Well,
questions.
go ahead, yeah.
Alright, so for your question, young lady, for me, there was a threshold. In the beginning, I was very discouraged that I didn't go to college. Right, I didn't finish what I started, and that was heartbreaking. You know? But what I did to get out of it is I continued learning. You know, I started reading books on the things that I'm interested in. I started listening to podcasts on things that I'm interested in. I started to meet people and shake people's hands that I believed that I should be around. I started to put myself, the exposure, I started to put myself in alignment in environments that encouraged who I believed I could be despite not having the education.
Come on.
And now I'm here today.
Yeah.
So it was like I would consider that as a pivot. You know, so in the beginning it was discouraging, I can't believe it's not me, why did I let myself down, my family, self-pressure.
Right.
And then it was, you know what, let me continue anyway. Let me try.
Your passion will drive you.
Right,
If that
exactly,
drove
it's what
you.
keep you going.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's my answer to your question.
Love that.
Yeah, so education is always important. Knowledge is just information until it's applied. Unless it's actionable and you create tangible results that's measurable, then you can start to
Y'all wrote that down?
strategize. Right?
It's on my head.
Yeah, so that's how I
You
feel.
thought you were writing though.
But
How he speaks, I'm like, you read a book.
Can we buy it?
Can
Can you start it and we'll buy it?
You know my in-laws complain.
all right. So, for your question, brother man. So, in terms of mentorship, I would encourage first to broaden the concept. My mentors were distant. John Maxwell, never seen him in real life. Read 8 of his books.
He just makes
Right? I read a crap ton of his books. You know what I mean? Darren Hardy, same thing. Great author. I read a couple of his books. And then just kind of building on that potential. And when you go, I kind of think of it like fishing. When you develop your potential, it becomes more radiant, more attractive, like shiny things. So when you get into these spaces, industry leaders, people who are leading in that space, they start to recognize that potential, right? They might come to you like, hey, what do you do? You might be like, okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? You might not know what to say.
You're good.
You might not know what to say.
Hi.
But the fact is, your potential is starting to attract the right type of people. And then you'll be able to leverage those opportunities moving forward.
Conferences.
Yeah, networking events, conferences, webinars, book signings,
Right.
parties, you know, but respectable parties, not like,
Right.
don't go out and
You
get
ain't gonna
drunk.
be in a
But
house
if you
party.
go to like a business party, office party, for example, for local entrepreneurs, and you have a glass of wine, that's appropriate for the setting.
Right.
You know, not trying to put anything off or judge anyone who drinks, because I like to drink wine. But that's just another approach, you know, to keep the concept open so that way you have more opportunity to explore.
And how you look too.
Facts.
I'm curious on that networking aspect. Do y'all attend like regular? Are there just like networking events for entrepreneurs?
The direct answer to your question is yes, but I'm very selective about the spaces that I go into.
Yeah.
Very selective. Yeah. Because
If I know some
Sorry,
people
go
that I
ahead.
trust are gonna be there, then I'll go.
Yeah, so like you're in the financial world, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to learn about the industry of finance, you may not receive as much value going to a business event about marketing.
Right.
That's what I'm saying about being specific.
Yeah, it's finance. I would say finance because I'm good at that. But like, I really want to work in like sports, something with sports. I really need sports.
The same concept applies.
Yeah, same concept.
So you can go to like, I don't know, like if they do like, if there's any local athletes or like city teams that do like public tournaments,
Oh yeah.
right? I want to get around sports. I'm gonna try to find spaces like that.
Right.
Because the return on my investment, which is time, could potentially be greater.
I guess it's both personal and entrepreneurial, and I heard it in a podcast, and I would just really want to know your guys' answers. What was the first big investment you guys did on yourself? It could be your business, but what was that like? I guess you could say a good sum of money, but you were directly investing in yourself and your business, or either yourself or your business, or both.
I'm going to remove capital from the equation.
Yeah, that's fine.
My greatest investment in myself was time and developing my faith.
Come on.
Because those two things are what anchor you. You know, it roots you in positivity, growth, success, that mindset, that belief. and then the other is what attracts or aligns with the opportunity. So that way you can earn capital.
Right.
Current example, I'm taking a free online course at HubSpot, you know what I mean, to get a certificate of completion for content marketing. There's no money involved. I'm just investing time into myself, which is gonna return capital.
I can piggyback off of what he says, because at first you're chasing money, right? Well, I was. At first I was chasing money, but that's actually where I developed my life coaching business, where mind, body, and soul. Once those 3 areas are locked in, everything else that you touch, your business, your relationship, it's gonna come to you. Money is gonna come to you. So having that foundation, so faith and I forget what else you mentioned.
Time.
Faith and time, yes. I do remember though, financially, I did spend some money on going out for a weekend for a conference. But again, applied knowledge is where it's at. Cause you can get all the information that you have, but a lot of the times, if you're still not motivated, if something internally is going on with you and you're not moving, you're just not gonna do anything with the information.
That's true.
So if you have those foundations in place, you're gonna do everything else that you're gonna get everything else that you're supposed to get.
I would say like in terms, like as far as like technical, like things to do or things to consider, is kind of learning how to evaluate risk and then comparing that to opportunity cost. So what will I lose if I don't invest in myself in this way? What will I gain if I go into debt to secure this particular piece of information? You know what I mean? So that's what technical, I would say that's one thing to consider as well. Opportunity cost and then evaluating risk.
I mean, if you want to talk about opportunity cost, like, cause that's just economics, that's my major. He said it perfectly, just what's the next best alternative, and then evaluate if that next best alternative is worth more than what you're doing now. That's it.
You said opportunity cost and what else?
Evaluating risk.
Yeah, evaluating risk.
I wish I knew that when I was starting my business, cause I was just gonna do this.
That extra
whatever
hour.
sticks. But no, that's the right way to go about it. That's the right way to go about it.
So I'm gonna interject here where we're in a unique place in time and also programming. So my Evans team typically will final circle at 4:30. Final circle is a city or culture where we just end the day together. And originally our time together was supposed to go until 4:30 to just prepare for that. So I'm asking opinion, thought, and permission. Okay, I don't know, collectively for those that are gonna originally stay for this panel. Okay, Julia, if needed, or whomever, feel free, you're not locked into the extension. Good of the group, what feels comfortable, because I want to manage to that, because I can go. We got that today. All right, so what feels good, I'm going to throw out 2 options. We can go programming until 5. Again, solid 30 minutes, I'm hoping 15, then we wrap up. Or if not, I could cut it shorter than that. So what feels good collectively to this group? So for the next 30 minutes, I do finish a programming, they'll do the little rotations, and then after that, we'll circle. Be out by 5:15.
I think that sounds good.
Sound good? Okay, cool. All right, crew. So I just questions that were answered were more than what it is I was anticipating. I feel like organic of this moment. And so for me, again, the original plan is to do the rotations again, have those smaller conversations with each group and an individual sitting there. So to my panelists, if you all don't mind, you guys can step forward. One sitting here, another sitting here. If it's easier and you don't mind, then I would say time it, give you the bell for the 15, and then you would just get up and just go over to the next table. Does that feel okay to you guys?
Yeah, that's fine.
Family, so
Do you guys have any questions for me? Specific questions about starting LLC, what to do?
let's start here.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead, jump in.
Limited
girl.
liability corporation.
After 2:20,
I'm not learning that.
I'm done.